Well, this is a poignant week for the royal family, and in particular for the Waleses.
Plus, did Meghan Markle just find a way to monetize a crime scene? Interesting. Hi, all. Welcome to Heirs and Spares, the show that dives into the fascinating world of two of the most recognized royal couples from both sides of the Atlantic. I'm Kinsey Schofield, and I'll be bringing you updates on Prince Harry and Meghan Markle right here from California.
And I'm sorry about my rather bleak setting this week for the news from the UK with regard to the royal family. I'm in a room at the British Racing School. Behind me, there's a picture of a racehorse. But anyway, trust me, this is quite an interesting place to be at. I've been giving a lecture, but I'll have news of what's going on with the Waleses and the rest of the royal family.
I love that you're just like, and you should just know who I am. I'm Madonna. I'm Cher. He's Rupert Bell, is what we're trying to tell you. He's Rupert Bell.
Oh, how long we been doing this program? Okay, I'm Rupert Bell. Do you want me to do that again? No, we just do that clean like that. We'll keep it like that. I'm being waffy, but there we go.
You are a modern day Cher, and so yes, of course, we know who you are. You're our Justin Bieber. Talk to us about why this is such an important. I know, but tell us why you teased this incredible week for the
Well,
British royal family. We're going to see a little bit more of everyone this week, don't you expect?
yes, and also some lovely documentaries reflecting on 100 years ago that the late Queen was born. When you think it wasn't that, what a life well lived to the full, but it was 100 years ago, back in 1926, that she was born. And so there's a time to reflect, another opportunity to reflect on the hugely significant life she led rather. And when you look at some of the things that are planned, the King and Queen will be doing a lot, and other members of the royal family, and I'm sure the Waleses will be around as well after the school holidays to remember and be part of this very special occasion because we still know and we feel the impact in this country of the mark the late Queen left, and the sort of times that she represented. Almost feels like an old-fashioned time because since she's died, my goodness me, the world has sort of at times been turned on its head, and she reflected it. Almost feels like a completely different era. And when you think, born back in 1926, living through the Second World War, all those prime ministers, and so I think for the royal family, in the Prince of Wales's case, it's his grandmother. And, grannies always have a big part to play in people's life. They leave them up. We all remember and know about our grandparents. And William will be no exception as he remembers her this week. So I think it will be a poignant week. And, they'll be reflecting, there's a lot going on. And obviously for the King, he's off to your neck of the woods in just over a week's time. That's going to be a hugely it almost feels like it might be quite a stressful visit, but here he has an opportunity, that's the King, and to remember his mother, and other members of the royal family will be doing exactly that as well. So I'm sure we'll see the Waleses in significant a significant presence and an important presence as well, because obviously in time William will become the king of this country, and Queen Elizabeth left her mark in an incredible fashion. And many of us, like all of us probably around the world, still miss her sort of calming, rather cheeky influence that she brought to proceedings.
Well, you mentioned Prince William's close relationship with Queen Elizabeth. And, one of the stories that circulates is how he would walk to her from Eton and get history lessons and hear stories about the tradition of their family and, you know, king classes. I mean, it not really, but in a gist, kind of a better understanding of what his future responsibilities would be as king. And now we're hearing stories that the Waleses are trying to mentally prepare for Prince George to potentially go to boarding school. And you said to me, like, are we talking about Eton? So clearly Eton is an option. Tell me what the word is on the street in the UK about where Prince George would be. And do you think realistically there could be an option where George doesn't go to boarding school? Because this feels like a family that does things so differently and is so close that I wonder if that could be an option where he doesn't go away.
Well, given where they live, I'm looking, it's a possibility, let's be honest, that they might want to keep him at home.
Hmm.
But if I'm not mistaken, I don't think Eton does day boarders.
Mm.
I may be wrong. Look, I failed to get into Eton when it was more difficult to, it was easier to pass than it is now.
Their loss, Rupert. Their
Well,
loss.
no, I went to a school called Stowe, which I thoroughly enjoyed. Look, I'm a product of the boarding school system from the age of 8, and look, so I understand. I think it's an interesting one. The one that they could be on the agenda that we haven't had confirmed, and I'm sure it's been kept under wraps for probably sensible reasons, because there doesn't want to be a feeding frenzy of whichever. Eating it wouldn't be a surprise, and
Right.
actually so easy for the story you alluded to nip up the road and go and see Granny.
Right. Right.
It's not like the rest of he can easily get an invite to, and it would have been, she might have even come and watched him play in the odd school match. Pretty easy to go and do that. Just walk down the hill and you're on the playing fields of Eton. So I can see that that would be on the choice, but I just wonder, and I'm speculating here, but Princess Catherine, she went to Marlborough, of which my eldest son went to. Catherine was still at the school while he was there,
Mm.
but much older. So I don't think their paths crossed when he was, a sort of junior there. But she was at Marlborough. And I think one of the reasons she quite likes it as a possibility, it is co-ed. And I think that might fit, sort of the more agenda rather than the all boys element of Eton.
That means
And
all of their children could potentially go there and stay together in a
absolutely,
sense. Yeah.
absolutely. And that doesn't that it sort of logistically makes sense as well. It's probably the school. Look, Marlborough is a beautiful town. It's
How
it's not
far is
a
it away from the Prince and Princess of Wales?
down the M4, probably quickly onto the M4 down there, probably an hour and 10.
That's not bad. If
No,
you,
yeah,
if
well,
That's not bad. I do think that they would, I think Catherine will be homesick for her children. Definitely, like I think she loves being a mom, but that's not bad, especially when you have a hunky husband that loves a helicopter.
well, look, and used to live near Marlborough, so I know the area well. It's a beautiful part of just on the, Wiltshire Downs, Marlborough Downs, beautiful part. It's a lovely town. It's not like the school, like it's not. It's an open. It's in a town. So, but just like Eton is, it's in a town. So, from a security point of view, does it have issues? The school I went to, Stowe, is on very much more of a campus place. I don't know whether that might help from a security point of view. It's a sort of school that they could go to. But look, it's open to debate. But what you do in the summer is you take an exam called Common Entrance to go into these schools. And while I think it's probably fairly easy for him to be given a place, I don't think the Waleses would want their children to be seen to be having an exception to sort of just because of who they are,
Mhm.
got into the school. I don't think that's their modus operandi. So it'll be interesting to see what decision is made. Look, I'm a product of boarding,
And
and
look
back
at
in the
how
day,
perfect you turned out. Look at this
Kinsey,
angel.
yeah, but the thing is, back in the day, I was actually talking to my brother about it, and we said, well, we were talking about every parent now goes to see their children play in sports, and I did it with my children, but I don't remember my parents ever turning up to see me play in any sports events. Hard enough, So it wasn't, you just didn't do it then.
You better watch yourself. You're starting to sound like Prince Harry.
No, trust me, I'm not traumatized by the experience. I can absolutely guarantee that we knew the rules,
Yeah.
and it wasn't just my parents not turning up. No one else's parents turned
Well, yeah,
up. You just
you've
didn't.
talked about that in the sense of I think you've talked about that in association with William and Catherine and how different
Mm,
they are from a parenting perspective. And you've said neither are wrong, but you grew
mm.
up with a tough, there was just different expectations and responsibilities, and it was just kind of like tough, tough. It wasn't like cuddles, and it was just a little tougher. And
It was a different era. My
yeah,
parents were brought up in the, my My mother was an only child. Her father was away doing stuff in the Second World War. My father went away. His school, which is Heatherdown, which was where lots of members of the royal family went, was evacuated to Shropshire during the Second World War. Although he lived in Warwickshire and brought up there. But so he was just expected to go away, but people did. And you just went to boarding school, whether you liked it or not. And look, it's by no means perfect institutions, and we've been reading about it, but things have definitely changed for the better. And look, I'm sure William and Catherine, if it's Marlborough, will be regulars on watching their son or children playing sports. I think they do it now when they go to Lambrook. So it's no real surprise. They'll be still very much wanting to be hands-on parents in a boarding school kind of way. Marlborough's a very good school, and with Catherine being an alma mater of the place, I'm sure she's got a great deal of affection, where she played a lot of sport. As we know how sporty she is, I can see it being attractive for her, and given the co-ed element. But I'm speculating, but it wouldn't be, if we get news that George will go to Marlborough, I think it will then be that Charlotte would probably go there, and then Louis went there. But,
and then every 13-year-old girl and from miles away will be trying to go to the same school so that she can grow up and be queen one day. I love that for her. I love that for her.
Here's the thing. It's quite hard to get into these schools, waiting lists, right? And I know, I sometimes I put my son and sons down for schools, and suddenly they find that, you're on the waiting list, but it doesn't guarantee you a place. So if there's people going for glory hunting and sort of going for that reason, I hope the school gives them short shrift, because that school don't want that. Right?
I think that's the Hallmark movie of my dreams. My parents fighting to get me into a school so that I can meet a handsome prince and be the queen of the country in the Commonwealth.
Weren't there rumors that Catherine?
There are those rumors. We should let's debate that right now. I don't believe that. Do you believe that her mom took her out of school and insisted she go to St. Andrews so that she could rendezvous with Prince William? I've never believed those. I've always felt like it was organic.
There were rumors.
I know. And
I don't know for sure, but obviously, if it was, it certainly worked out well.
Yeah, God love her. Good way to go, girlfriend.
But it wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So a roller coaster. But she went to St. Andrews and whatever. So, but I hope, and this is why I'm pleased with what's gone on at Lambrook. We don't see anything of the children in their school days. What we might see is when George goes to his next school, like we used to see, the King going to Gordonston, which definitely wouldn't be on William and Catherine's radar, because that is in the middle of nowhere. And a good school, I'm not disputing it, but it's not so.
Prince Charles, now King Charles, I don't think he had a lot of positive things to say about that experience.
Well, yeah, Prince Philip went there and sort of insisted and said it was very defining for him, sort of helped turn him into...
it defined Prince Charles too, just not in a positive way.
It wasn't quite, it was, cold showers every time. There wasn't too much, it was tough love.
Yeah.
So I don't think he quite enjoyed it, but so the schools have changed, I can assure you, having seen these schools in operation, they are different beasts to what they once were, and I think Marlborough would be a sensible choice, and I think it wouldn't be a bad thing. Now, I'm giving my boarding school view of it. Sometimes just to not be going home, it can really just be sort of hanging out with the kids all the time and being a normal schoolboy. If he has to go back to sort of Forest, you see the balancing act here. You don't understand this because you weren't sent away to school.
Right? No, I homeschooled. I was literally under my mom's wing entirely.
Okay.
So,
well, okay. that's a perspective. But so you turned out all right. So look, horses for courses, as he says from the British Racing School. But I would think that wouldn't be a bad thing just to, just be able in a house with fellow people of your age. There'll probably be in a house. There'll probably be 15 of that year in any house at Marlborough, and they become really close friends.
And you
I
need
know,
that when you're in this really
you,
weird position that is being born into the British royal family. You need to establish deep relationships and people that you can trust into adulthood. We've seen Prince William and Catherine carry on some of those friendships, from St. Andrews. And then we've seen Harry lose a lot of the friendships he developed at Eton because Meghan didn't like that company.
well,
I would say Prince William seems happier because he still has some of those contacts and people he can
yeah.
trust and rely on. And then alternatively, you have Harry kind of what are the rudderless is I love when you say that
Oh,
rudderless.
well, he is rudderless, but and I think it's important. I mean, I'm
Wait, what do
sure
you think
William.
about what do you think about the rumors? I believe this is coming from Richard Eden that Harry would like to send his children to boarding school in the UK. That strikes me as very unrealistic when it doesn't seem like the UK is where Meghan Markle wants to be, and I don't think she'd want her children so far away from her.
Yeah. Oh, I can't see that happening.
I know.
I can't. I can't. It will. There'll have to be a big sea change, and Meghan's going to have to approach her life differently if she wants to see her little darlings,
Mm.
because and it's tough on them. Look, I know a lot of these schools have children who live overseas and fly in and fly out, you know, to all corners of the globe. So it's not it wouldn't be beyond the possibility, but I'm not sure Meghan's going to even contemplate that. But it will be interesting to see where George does go. I think it will be illuminating. I think it will be good to him, and he can make, and I'm sure even from Lambrook, he will have friends who will be for life. And you do come away, and that's not saying every other school, of course that happens, right? Wherever you go to school, you get friends for life. But my children who all went to these schools have friends from their respective schools that they are still fabulously close to, and it's lovely. So I hope George, wherever he goes, ultimately, like you wish any parent who's sending their child to school is happy,
I
because
agree.
schools can be brutal places. The schoolyard can not sometimes be much fun, but George, it will give him a chance to sort of fend for himself on his own, but obviously with a security guard hanging by.
All right. Well, we agree. I totally agree that I hope that this is a happy time and transition for him because I imagine that that's got to be a little uncomfortable going away from home for the first time. Let's pivot to Prince Harry, devastated, according to reports in Australia, over basically the continued debate over security. Every trip becomes overshadowed. Apparently, it was an Australian MP named David Lambrook who started the conversation. He wants Harry and Meghan to fully reimburse police for the added security that they provided them throughout a clearly commercial venture. Instead of utilizing public funding, he said there's a fee structure for police support in Victoria, but if Harry and Meghan want any goodwill, they will pay for it in full. Sources say Harry is frustrated, despairing, and devastated due to the added attention to this matter. I mean, when is he not? That's just typical Tuesday for our boy. Security has been an issue ever since Harry took a step back from his royal duties. And here's a quote from one of the sources. Harry feels like this is just one drama after another when it comes to security. These are the consequences of your actions, marrying a drama queen, Harry. From his perspective, he's trying to carry out engagements and support causes, but every trip becomes overshadowed by arguments about protection and funding. They added, there is a sense of Harry suffering exhaustion about the whole issue. He thought these questions had been settled, but they keep resurfacing in different countries. You know, Rupert, shouldn't he have thought about this before he quit his position as a working royal?
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm trying to work out whether the tour was a success or the Sussex would perceive the tour to be a success.
Hmm.
Um,
I
I'm
think that they're delusional, so I do think that they probably consider it a success.
Well, yes, but you read conflicting reports, and people can always photograph there's not a crowd, there is a crowd, and you get all sorts of different perspectives. But the security issue is just something that it didn't sound like they needed much security by the looks of things.
Yeah,
And
right.
then and I mean the shot of that walking off on Bondi Beach and over that beach person who refused to move. I thought that was a little bit of an indictment of the tour, because that wouldn't have happened in 2018. Some random person just lying and saying this is my spot and
Hmm.
I'm not moving for anyone. Security, look, lots of people, MPs, sort of go for the publicity headline. And I just wonder whether he has, although I understand the message. It's an easy sort of rent a quote type. I don't know his background as an MP, but sometimes you always do find sort of rent a quote MPs will have an opinion on everything. So
Well,
I
I mean,
don't know.
do you think that the suggestion is fair? I think that if Harry and Meghan would have been there and they would have been working exclusively with charities, it's one thing to have the public pay for them, but Meghan and Harry had multiple commercial ventures.
Mm,
Meghan's well, that we don't I don't know whether we'll talk about it at great length or not, but
mm.
Meghan coddling cancer-stricken children with the outfit she's wearing up for sale within minutes on her app that she's invested in. If I'm Australia, I'm like, we are not going to be used as your billboard. We're not going to be used as a way to, salvage your dying brand. And I want those funds back, because this was less of a philanthropy venture and more of an ego trip.
Well, I couldn't agree more. I actually, on this, they are private citizens going around. And I went onto that site because I thought I'd better do some research, for and understand what's going on. And yes, it's all these celebrities who I've never heard of. And you click through, and obviously I saw the one for the Bondi Beach one, the blue and white striped thing. I think it was $400. I may be wrong, but I'm thinking, oh, look, when the Princess of Wales wears something, people know and ask, it is part of the run for the course
But remember,
that
she
people.
also released a statement saying she no longer wanted to engage in conversations about her wardrobe, the Princess of Wales, because she said she wanted us to focus on the work she's doing, not the outfit she's wearing.
Yeah, I get that, but unfortunately, I think she's being a bit naive there. People do want to know. And not that she gets any commercial benefit. Often those outfits go well, whatever she's wearing.
And she
So,
pays for
but
them, Rupert. She also pays
yeah,
for them. And
so
I know Meghan received several of these pieces, if not all of these pieces, for free. They did outreach to Australian designers, and the Australian designers sent them specific pieces that were requested. And I know of one designer that threw in the trench coat that Meghan Markle wore with the mama t-shirt. And so Meghan's not only receiving these for free, then making commission off of sales related to them, but like Catherine's purchasing with a budget she's been given, she's actually purchasing these outfits and then not blatantly advertising them or getting a kickback when other people purchase the outfit because they want to look like her.
yeah, and look, she's a great focus of attention for the British fashion industry, and I think it's absolutely right. But as long, she's there representing this country, and it's something, she's got every right to wear these things, but she's not getting the kickback.
Mm-hmm.
Meghan has made a point, and the whole thing has been driven by whatever thing she was going to, you can buy. I mean, I don't think she had time to attend it. She just seemed to be permanently changing clothes.
Hmm.
I mean, it was a sort of right, almost like one of those sort of quick scene changes in theatre. Suddenly quick scene change off the stage door, come out wearing something else. I don't. I mean, I couldn't
But
keep
doesn't it
track of
really
how.
make you sick that she's trying to look sympathetic towards people that lost family members during the Bondi Beach massacre, and that outfit's available within seconds on the website. I mean, and also, you know, I normally wouldn't be so upset. Well, I don't know how to word. I normally wouldn't make this point because I don't know how much I monitor this, but my friend Paula Froelich pointed out that the King and Queen and the Prince and Princess of Wales released statements the day of the Bondi Beach shooting, saying that they were so devastated and appalled and sorry. Harry and Meghan made no comment about it, but then showed up for the photo op. But I did remember when she brought that up to me that the King and Queen and the Prince and Princess of Wales acknowledged October 7th. Harry and Meghan not only did not acknowledge October 7th, I believe, but they went to Jordan and had their photos taken with people that had pro-Hamas propaganda all over their social media. It's like, good God, do you guys not do any homework, or do you not? It's insane.
They're tone deaf. They are, and I'm sorry, if you're doing charitable stuff, you're not here to then benefit off these endless photographs of you doing your, meeting and greeting and saying how sympathetic you are, which, look, I can understand that Bondi Beach thing, absolutely terrifying. And I know the couple of Australian friends of mine who lived near there and weren't on the Bondi Beach, but were left absolutely stunned and I'm not saying traumatized, but just sense of disbelief and shock and horror at the awfulness of it. And you can't disagree with that. But to come in a few months later on your first trip back and give it the full, bit, and then to flog your clothing, and you are on what they say, 10 to 20% cut of everything that's sold. It's tacky.
It's so gross.
Very, very tacky. And sorry, that's not what the royal family do. They're here to promote things. And yes, if she's wearing something and if you like it, then it's your job to find out. But she shouldn't be benefiting. But fortunately, unfortunately, she has to earn money. But this is why this whole trip.
It's the consequences of their own actions. It's like they knew that they were going to have to get real jobs when they decided to quit the British royal family. And, where do you stand on this story? Because I've heard this for years. I asked Hugo Vickers. He said he'd never heard this, but I have heard this over and over again, that both King Charles, Prince Charles at the time, and Queen Elizabeth at the time encouraged Meghan to continue acting and said, look, like, if you want to continue to be an artist, we support that. It does contradict the no half in, half out that we hear. But I don't know who to believe on that. And I do think that the royal family would not be bothered if Meghan continued to pursue an acting career. But I know for a fact, because I'm told through my sources, that they are bothered by the fake royal tours, and they are bothered by Harry and Meghan's insistence on looking like they are still affiliated with the British. Do you know? What is? I guess if you don't know, what's your intuition on the conversation surrounding Meghan continuing to act when she first met?
I think it was going to be a difficult one, Kinsey. I think for them, because what kind of roles does she take?
Yeah, because they asked her to cut down the nudity, or not the nudity, but the semi-nudity in Suits. Remember, they did ask her to be a little more conservative in her role in Suits after she started dating Harry.
But let's be clear, her acting career didn't pull up trees.
No.
Right. Okay. So yes, she had a role in Suits, and that certainly is defined. That's her big acting career moment.
Really her only thing.
Okay, but I'm not so convinced about that. I think what they realized that she was a strong-minded woman and probably knew that you had to give some latitude, right, to her previous life. Mm-hmm. But she didn't want to know. And what annoyed me about this Sydney trip, it is so, if you didn't know any better, outside appearing on MasterChef as the Duchess of Sussex, which, and coming in and not wanting, and then again, she hates this country, yet endlessly is promoting and depending on the royal family.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think I sound like a broken record because I say this all the way. I'm just trying to find a different way of saying it, Kinsey. I've got, and I'm running out of ways. But I looked at that, I go, oh my goodness me, oh no, what are they trying to do? And then she's appearing on MasterChef, which I did a program with you and Hugo last week, which I said scraping the bottom of the barrel. I upset a couple of people by saying that because
Really?
MasterChef in this country gets good figures, and I'm sure in Australia, but coming
Well, I
in and
mean,
then
if we're being honest, if you had a chance to be sitting with the current United States president, no matter what your political affiliation is, and King Charles at a state banquet where everybody's draped in tiaras and gowns with crystals all over them, versus going and being a judge on a cooking show. F that noise, Rupert. I'm going to the state banquet. I'm not going to be the reality girl again.
well, and you've been to the odd state banquet, so you're a lucky girl. I've never been to one. I'm NFI to these sort of things, but I don't know why, how you managed to do it. But anyway, I've never managed to get to one. But that's the point: appearing on a celebrity show and then turning up at a weekend that seems to have been the most. I mean, I thought she was there for the whole weekend.
I think
Appears that
everybody
she,
did. I think
and
everybody
then
did.
it appears that she was 2 hours. I then read reports that she might have only been there for half an hour. Then, there may have been only less than 50 paying customers. And no wonder she's scarpered out of there because wouldn't have taken long to have that intimate photograph with Meghan. I mean, the whole thing looked slightly weird that weekend. We're not getting much feedback. If the organisers aren't saying what an amazing weekend, you would have thought they'd be leaping for joy. And it appears that Pamela Anderson was down in Sydney and she was rocking the joint with a sellout gig as well. So look, it's easy to contrast and compare. We don't know what went on. The people who went may have had a fabulous time, but it doesn't sound like many went. And she certainly didn't seem to be there all weekend because I thought they were having a big weekend with her. It appears that she was out at the rugby match and out of there the next morning back to LA. So it all seemed to me to be a rather strange, damp squib of an ending to the week in Australia.
Rather strange money grab.
Well, yeah, the whole thing was a money grab. Let's be honest. They should have also.
Also, my favorite line is there are three people in this marriage, or there were three people in the marriage. Well, who's Marcus Anderson? Because Marcus Anderson, Mr. Soho House, was lingering the entire time, was inches. I mean, there's one shot of them at rugby where she's like huddled into him, and Prince Harry's on another island, like over here on her other side. Like weird to me.
Well, the whole thing, and also the endless woe is me from both of them in the speeches they gave, because we got Harry moaning about his royal status. Well, here he is on a tour that all but looks like a royal tour.
Exactly.
What's going on there? And
While
then you've got
you're
Meghan
cosplaying a royal, you are complaining about how you did not. And he also says that being a royal killed his mom. No, the drunk driver killed your mom, Harry. Stop trying to rewrite history. Your mom was irresponsibly running around with Dodi, who was not on her level, if we're being honest, regarding who she should have been seeing after divorcing a future king. You shouldn't be running around with Dodi, allegedly, who does drugs, allegedly Dodi, who was engaged to another woman when you started dating Dodi, who I was with the producer, or the director Joel Silver, who was at the Ritz the night that they died, and was friends with Dodi, and he was like he was always he always had that energy of like, now, go. He said, I can just imagine in the car, and we've heard this from the bodyguard too, that Dodi was like, haul ass. Get us away from those photographers. She wasn't wearing her seatbelt. Harry, stop trying to rewrite history. And then Meghan Markle's the most trolled person in the world. How many uncomfortable questions, Rupert, did you have to answer in 2024 because of all of the cruel rumors that were circulating on social media about the Princess of Wales? Because I lost count and I was sick of it. The mean spirited, nasty things that were said about Catherine as she was trying to navigate cancer. It's unreal. But Meghan's the biggest victim we've ever seen.
Oh, and so we're going to these events and everything, instead of about the people she's supposed to promote, it becomes about her again. And it was the same as we talk about the podcast. It was never really, it was all her lived experiences that she talks about.
All three of them.
Harry said, is moaning about his lot, and I'm sorry, get over it. And now you've got to move on. You can't live in this permanent look back mode. If you're happy, show it. What's that song? Clap your hands. There's that.
If you're happy and clap your hands.
Clap your hands. Yeah, sorry. Anyway, he should be doing that if he's happy.
And Rupert, she has every reason to be happy because she literally hit the jackpot. She was a nobody. I'm sorry. I've covered entertainment in Hollywood for over 20 years now. That's been my job. I'd never heard of Meghan Markle until she started dating Prince Harry. And then she was on my radar. She was trying to secure a cooking show right before she met with Prince Harry for the first time. She was meeting agents, meeting ideas people in the UK because she was trying to go international. She's international. She was just on MasterChef. She got her With Love Meghan. Everything she's ever dreamt of has come true thanks to this man. Everything. And she still has the audacity to complain.
Well, I'm afraid that's what annoyed me about the trip. I've spoken to Australian contacts, and I think the Australian media can be pretty brutal at times, and I'm struggling to find too much positivity because they could see through it. And yes, it's the half in, half out philosophy, but that must be very irritating to the royal family because it's cheapening the brand of the royal family. Because when William and Catherine go there will be inevitable comparisons. But when they turn up, there will be interest. And it will be done in they're very careful about the way they are perceived. They've been the odd missteps when they were in one of the Caribbean islands and things that just looked a bit too colonial. Australia, obviously, a very different vibe, but they will want to be seen in a more than positive light, having an impact. And I think William and Catherine do need to probably go there as a future king, because it's hard now for the king and queen, to particularly go all around the world. I mean, he's going to America, then he goes, this is the king, that is, then he goes to Bermuda to end his trip for a couple of days and then home. So it's going to be a pretty stressful trip.
Again, with cancer, a man with cancer.
Yeah, and he's going to be on the forefront of everything politically, and and certainly for the Prime Minister of this country, he's got plenty of things he's having to deal with.
How does he still have a job, by the way?
Well, that's answers not to reason why. Look, it's political process. I don't know.
Old Boris got the boot over a cake, and Keir Starmer is just we're 5 or 6 scandals deep.
Well, Peter Mandelson is way worse than the cake.
Amen.
And so allegedly, but I would say that for William and Catherine, it needs to be on their radar. I mean, and I think the children would probably love to go there. They could. But I think I'm sure it will be something that, planning down the line, but not too close to this one, but maybe in the summer months of Australia towards the end of this year, beginning of next year, might be something they will have to consider. And
wait, did you tell me that Prince William, I know we've had this conversation a million times, so I apologize, but did you say that Prince William was going to be in the United States for the World Cup? Is that what he's going to be in the United States for?
There would be a chance because he is president of the English Football Association. So there's every chance that he would be going in an official capacity, particularly if England do well. It is quite normal for the president of the various countries' football association to go to games. So it would be no different. That would be in June and July. The finals in New York, and there's lots of debates about the pricing going on there, but we're not a sports podcast, so we'll quickly move on.
Well, what do you think about the fact that they're doing a halftime show now, like the Super Bowl, like the first ever Coldplay's Chris Martin is going to be the curator of that? Maybe that's
well,
why the prices jumped. They got to afford Beyonce or something.
Well, FIFA can afford them. Don't worry.
Okay.
Their budget's punchy. That's a drop in the ocean for Coldplay and Beyonce. So look. I'm a purist. Have a show before. It's a 15-minute halftime in soccer, stroke football, and you get on with the game. Before
you don't
the game,
like the idea of a halftime show.
Not in football. That's not the sport.
Yeah.
But obviously they're pandering to the American market to have a halftime show, and I'm.
You're not impressed.
No, I'm not impressed. Look. I like my football.
But what if we could get Prince William dancing like he was dancing to Taylor Swift's "Shake It Off"? Do you remember him dancing to "Shake It Off" when he took the kids to Taylor? Oh my gosh, my heart's exploding imagining it.
Well. I don't know. I've just got the latest Taylor Swift song just in my Oprah Light. Is it Oprah Light? No, it's not.
It's not Oprah Light. That's Meghan Markle.
Oh, yeah, that's Oprah Light. What is it? I guess. Sorry, I'm mishearing it.
Opal Light.
Oh yeah, Opal Light. And so I got that, sort of dance going through and the song going through my head. But obviously, I don't know what it's called. But Oprah Light, which seems appropriate given we're talking about Meghan, aren't we? So yeah, that would be. Look, I'm a football purist.
Yeah.
So Coldplay, obviously, big name. Beyonce, clearly two global superstars.
I just made up Beyonce. Coldplay's the only one officially involved. Wait, before I let you go, because I know you've got to go, can I ask you this question about Harry's visa? I truly am amazed that this is a conversation we're still having. Harry's U.S. visa controversy isn't going away, but it has been put on pause. Officials have delayed the release of his immigration records until after King Charles's state visit to the United States, effectively sidestepping any potential diplomatic fallout. At the center of this is whether Prince Harry accurately disclosed past drug use on his visa application, something he later openly discussed is not enough of a word. I feel like it's celebrated in his memoir, Spare. A legal push led by the Heritage Foundation is what started all of this. But they had to recently admit that they missed the March deadline to release the paperwork that apparently they were owed. I guess I walked away not thinking we were owed anything else. There were so many retractions on the previous documents that were released. Now the update is published. Now they've decided that there won't be an update published until mid-June. I guess I would ask you, did you know we were continuing to wait on this paperwork? I guess I truly thought that this was a chapter closed.
In a way, this is it's an organization who have clearly got their bit between the teeth in this. I can't see him being, whatever comes out, being summarily escorted out of the country.
No.
But this organization will say, well, if it's, why are you bending the rules for him? Why is the special case? So I understand from that perspective, but I can't see. And I thought it had gone away and was sort of brushed under the carpet. I think Harry and Meghan have got more important issues to worry about, which is how to rebrand themselves into something that becomes credible if they're going to continue these faux royal tours. Because
to your point, I kept saying when Meghan Markle was saying she was the most trolled person in the world, if you want to be taken seriously as an authority on something, you don't make it about yourself. You bring research to look at Catherine. Catherine, when she talks about the early years project, she never says, as George was growing up, as Catherine was, as I brought up, she says, here's the research that we facilitated. She says, here are the analytics. And I think that Meghan needs to take a cue. And she needs to take herself out of the equation, and she needs to provide legitimate research to back up what she's saying. She needs to offer, we say this all the time about Prince Harry, she needs to provide some solutions, and she needs to stop making everything all about her if she wants to
Well,
seriously be taken as a credible influencer in the space.
well,
Good
it's not going
luck.
to happen. Good luck. I mean, what can you do? You can, they obviously thought they were going to be a rip-roaring success down under.
Yeah.
And yes, there may have been some successful bits. Um, maybe the work with the Invictus, but I think the Bondi Beach picture of that person sort of summed it up, and then of just how
The
weird that
person
looked.
that doesn't
Yeah,
move. There's a video that's
yeah.
circulating, and there's an individual that's on the beach, and she sees this huge crowd of Harry and Meghan's
Mm.
entourage approaching, and she just continues to keep writing in her journal.
Mm.
She's unfazed, and that's what Rupert's describing right now. This person that's completely unfazed, unimpressed, and not moving for this pair.
And I think that sort of sums up their tour. Most of
Yeah,
Australia was unimpressed with their visit, and
unbothered.
unbothered, unimpressed, and ultimately thinking, what was the point?
Mm-hmm.
And
And we can agree with that. We, even you and I, are like, I mean, Kevin O'Sullivan just said that to me. He's like, everybody's still trying to figure out what it's about. But you and I, we know ultimately what it was about. It was about salvaging a brand that is falling to pieces and making a quick buck. And truly, that's what this was all about. It wasn't about changing the life of a poor child that's sitting in a hospital suffering from cancer. It wasn't about making somebody's day who lost their loved one in the Bondi Beach shooting. That came second to ensuring that Meghan Markle's outfits were already available on that website, ready to go, so that you too can do some performative activism and make, try to elevate yourself.
well, yeah, and now I think we've got candles that have been designed by their children, haven't we? Or
Yeah,
something
the
like
the
that.
Archie candle and the
Oh,
$60 Archie candle. I mean, get out
I'm,
of here.
I'm
But
sorry,
no, I'm sorry. It's Prince Archie because she uses their titles to promote it.
which shouldn't be happening as well.
No, not at
No,
all.
no, not at all. Not at all. That is, they are, they're, that, I'm sorry, you don't monetize your children, no. And then using a title that, yes, they are the prince and princess, but, why? You don't want them to be there. You don't want to be part of the royal family. Grow up.
Mm-hmm. And you told an American audience that you weren't going to be given those titles because the royal family is racist, and you never took back those words. You specifically said Archie didn't have a prince title because of the color of his skin, which was not that, it was just historically not true. Archie would not have that title until his grandfather was the king, not his great grandmother. So you lied. You never apologized. You never corrected yourself. And now you're utilizing these titles that you were given after the death of Queen Elizabeth and I'm telling you, Rupert, like, I think that the slowly teasing of the children's faces is because she's going to make bank when she reveals their faces for People magazine, because People magazine, some of those outlets like that will pay these people, 50,000, 100,000 for the big reveal. And I think that
Well,
that's what she's holding out on.
well, Harry should be growing some and tell her, no, you're not monetizing my children. That's what he wanted to get away from.
I don't think I mean, that's maybe what he wanted to get away from, but Meghan would always resented the fact that at in the Windsor Castle guest shop, there were postcards with her face on them, and they weren't receiving a kickback from that. That was what her issue was. Not that they were being monetized, but that she wasn't receiving a percentage of it.
Well, she failed to understand that money is there designed to help fund the royal
maintain
family,
and
maintain
maintain
the.
the perimeter,
Yeah.
maintain these old buildings that cost a lot of money.
Well, that's the point. That's what she complained about when she was last in Australia. Well, she got our wish, monetized this trip, and has she made a lot of money? I'd be interested to know whether these outfits did go off the shelf. I'd be interested. Did they make money? Did the means justify the end?
Mm.
I'm not, from my idea, no.
Well, Rupert wants to know what you think. So let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this video with a friend. Thanks so much for watching. Rupert, I think we have a date next week. I look forward to seeing you then. And thanks for taking time out of your busy educational schedule to hang out with us. We really appreciate you.
Well, I'll tell you what, I've basically been talking to some students at the British Racing Media Academy. And one of the things is I talk, never be pigeonholed. Who'd have thought I'd be a royal commentator? I certainly
Amen.
didn't 40 years ago be doing this, but I'm very grateful to be doing it and love chatting to you. See you next week.
One of the best in the business, too. Thanks, guys. We'll see you again soon.